The United States just added a platform to its arsenal that redefines long-range strike in ways most cannot imagine. Imagine a jet that can take off from a secure base in the continental United States and reach targets anywhere on the globe without touching another airfield. That's what changes everything. While previous bombers relied on vulnerable, in-theater basing or extensive aerial refueling, this new system pushes the envelope of reach and operational independence. Its presence alone reshapes the calculations of any opposing command, forcing them to consider threats that may never appear on their radar until too late. That's the power of global reach, and the B-21 Raider embodies it with precision, stealth, and endurance built into its very design. For decades, strategic planners faced a dilemma where legacy platforms could penetrate defenses, but they demanded careful choreography. Tankers had to be positioned near contested zones, forward airstrips needed preparation for contingencies, and crews spent weeks rehearsing complex logistics. Those days are fading as the Raider is engineered to sidestep that dependency. When an adversary erects anti-access and area denial networks, it's no longer enough to build more fighters or interceptors. You need a platform that operates independently, whose very range and stealth let it bypass layers of threats entirely. The strategic landscape has shifted fundamentally because the old way of doing business involved massive logistical tails that were vulnerable to disruption. Older bombers once carried the weight of history, but also the weight of their limitations. B-52s and B-1s have served for decades, yet aging systems, rising maintenance demands, and modern integrated air defenses created a growing risk that the United States could not afford. Modern A2AD networks, layered radar systems, and advanced surface-to-air missile arrays rendered older platforms increasingly vulnerable. That's why the B-21 matters. The Air Force now possesses a jet engineered not just to survive, but to operate where survival used to be impossible. Analysts estimate the combat radius could approach 2,500 to 3,000 nautical miles unrefueled, with ferry range possibly exceeding 6,000 nautical miles. That allows the Air Force to launch precision strikes from locations previously thought impractical. And the resulting operational flexibility alters the dynamics of deterrence instantly. Every plan an adversary drafts must now account for a system that can appear in their skies from thousands of miles away with no warning. The strategic tension this produces is subtle, but undeniable. The possibility alone shifts behaviors, priorities, and posture. But here's the thing. The platform's significance isn't just about distance. Penetration capability, stealth, and payload capacity combine to create a force multiplier that magnifies its impact far beyond raw numbers. Each sortie has the effect of multiple tactical jets, especially when striking high-value targets at long range.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
The Payload suite is designed to deliver conventional munitions with surgical precision or support standoff nuclear deterrence through weapons like the AGM-181 LRSO, capable of ranges exceeding 1,500 miles. Its internal weapons bay carries up to 20,000 pounds of payload, and estimates suggest reconfigurations may push this even higher, up to 30,000 pounds. That's the number that changes everything. Load it with B-61 Mod 12 nuclear bombs or bunker-busting variants like B-61 Mod 13, and the platform maintains its low observable signature. This is before you consider conventional munitions like JASSM-ER, JDAMs, or LRASM anti-ship missiles. By being able to loiter in hostile airspace, gather intelligence, and strike on demand, it gives commanders options that older bombers could only dream of. The result is that missions which once required coordination across multiple platforms and support chains now become achievable by a single, stealthy aircraft. The engineering behind this reach is specific and deliberate. Reports suggest two high-bypass geared turbofans, derived from the geared PW1000G family, provide the thrust. These engines are critical. High bypass ratios between 4 and 5 to 1 accelerate a greater mass of air at lower velocity, reducing specific fuel consumption by roughly 16 to 20%, compared with earlier military turbofans. A geared core decouples fan speed from core speed, allowing the fan to spin at lower RPM for efficiency, while the core runs hotter and faster for power. That combination cuts fuel burn by another 16%, while producing a cooler exhaust, enhancing stealth characteristics. Advanced materials and digital controls, including full authority digital engine control, actively monitor airflow, temperature, and vibration to optimize performance at altitude. Flight testing confirms this setup delivers consistent high-altitude cruise while minimizing maintenance stress on both engines and airframe. And that's before factoring in aerodynamic refinements like wing body blending and integrated fuel structure, which extend endurance and improve loiter capacity over distant targets. What does that actually mean for the cruise? Pilots gain unprecedented freedom to plan routes that avoid predictable choke points. They can enter contested airspace with confidence, knowing the jet itself reduces exposure through both stealth and fuel efficiency. For navigators and mission planners, fuel constraints no longer dictate whether a mission is possible. Instead, objectives and threat analysis define the flight profile. Maintenance teams see reduced wear cycles and longer intervals between overhauls, which keeps the fleet operationally ready without continuous heavy maintenance. The B-21 addresses challenges with a suite of capabilities that were once aspirational. Designers optimized internal bay volume over brute lift capacity, which preserves radar cross-section without constraining mission effectiveness. That leads to operational advantages that extend beyond payload alone. Maintenance crews see efficiencies because internal racks and modular bay systems standardize loads, reducing reconfiguration time and complexity. Pilots report that energy management remains stable even with full loads, a feature that enhances survivability during ingress and egress from hostile airspace. Open architecture in the system suite ensures that new weapons or sensors can be integrated rapidly, which means the jet is future-proof against evolving threats. That flexibility allows the platform to pivot as threats evolve and technologies emerge, ensuring that each sortie is as relevant in 5 years as it is today. Production strategy reinforces this operational capability. While others lingered on upgrades to decades-old fleets, Northrop Grumman pushed through development and production with relentless focus. By 2023, the first low-rate initial production aircraft rolled out of Plant 42, a milestone that came after years of careful planning and design. 21 aircraft marked Lot 1, followed by Lot 2 in late 2024, with roughly 19 more. At the same time, Northrop implemented process changes costing $477 million to optimize production lines and adapt to higher output. That's what gives the program flexibility.
Before we get to that, I need your help. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I need your help. So I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out.
Existing facilities can ramp to accommodate more than 100 aircraft without building new plants, an efficiency that keeps the program on schedule and under relative fiscal discipline. Production rates currently sit at 7 to 8 aircraft per year, yet digital twins, workforce expansion, and streamlined workflows promise acceleration if strategic needs demand it. Each aircraft built is production standard, which means test planes can convert to combat-ready units rapidly, giving commanders options that were unavailable in previous decades. By early 2026, roughly 40 airframes were in various stages of assembly, positioning the United States to meet minimum program of record requirements for at least 100 aircraft. Discussions are ongoing to expand the fleet to 145 or more, depending on budget constraints, progress with B-52 modernization, and broader strategic needs. Every addition recalibrates the balance of long-range strike power in favor of planners who value control and precision over numbers alone. Deployment plans emphasize both dispersion and concentration to maximize this capability. Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota functions as the primary hub and formal training unit, First deliveries rolled in mid-2020s, and crews began building experience under realistic operational conditions. Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri follows as the second operational site, transitioning from the B-2 fleet. Dyess Air Force Base in Texas serves as the third base, undergoing about $1.6 billion in upgrades to accommodate new systems. These three sites aren't scattered randomly. Their locations provide maximum leverage. Ellsworth shortens Pacific flight paths to roughly 6,000 nautical miles. Whiteman optimizes Atlantic and Middle East sorties, and Dyess supports Southern Hemisphere and South America coverage. That careful planning turns a few secure bases into a worldwide launch network. Meanwhile, Edwards Air Force Base serves testing functions, validating every system in controlled conditions, while Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma handles specialized maintenance that keeps operational units flying. This separation of duties ensures that operational units remain focused on sortie generation without being bogged down by complex depot-level work. Put it this way, pilots know the aircraft is mission-ready, mechanics see consistent workflow, and commanders gain a reliable global reach capability without overtaxing resources. At the heart of this shift is survivability. Planners intentionally avoided overseas basing in areas threatened by adversary long-range weapons. That strategic choice mitigates risk while still enabling rapid deployment. If a crisis emerges in the Pacific, crews can launch from Ellsworth and reach contested zones without needing to refuel in exposed territories. Whiteman allows similar flexibility for operations toward Europe, Africa, and the Middle East, and Dyess completes global coverage for the southern approaches. The real question is, how does this affect adversaries' planning? Every target, set, and defensive posture now must account for a stealth platform capable of operating from locations previously considered out of reach. The B-21 also transforms pilot careers. The bird's range and advanced avionics mean crews train on realistic global missions without the usual rotational deployments overseas. That continuity improves skill retention and reduces operational stress. Pilots gain confidence in their ability to project power anywhere in the world while working within a secure, centrally maintained infrastructure. The strategic implications ripple across Allied confidence as well. Nations depending on U.S. extended deterrence can plan with the assurance that long-range, flexible strike is truly available. Planners in Tokyo, Canberra, and Seoul can integrate this capability into defense postures, knowing that reach, survivability, and payload are no longer mutually exclusive. The payoff? More stable deterrence, fewer gaps in response, and reduced pressure to maintain exposed infrastructure under constant threat. The ability to hold critical targets at risk without forward deployment increases trust among partners, allowing combined operations to focus on defense and intelligence integration rather than compensating for range limitations. At the same time, it frees up tactical airframes for regional defense rather than global penetration, letting fighters focus on localized air superiority without stretching resources thin. So what happens next? Training cycles evolve, tactical doctrines adapt, and exercises now integrate this platform as a keystone. Pilots are trained to exploit range and stealth simultaneously, enabling complex mission profiles that once required layered formations of aircraft. Maintenance crews experience a shift in priorities. Sustainment now emphasizes mission readiness and long-term system integrity over the immediate logistical scrambles that defined previous long-range bombers. That change alone transforms career paths, skill sets, and operational confidence. Airmen gain experience in managing sophisticated long-endurance missions with precision tools, which strengthens the entire force by cultivating expertise that extends far beyond the aircraft itself. The result is a self-reinforcing loop, where the aircraft, crews, and command systems together redefine the tempo and risk calculus of global operations. The Raider also forces adversaries to rethink the architecture of their defense networks. Anti-access systems that rely on layered sensors, fighter patrols, and missile zones lose effectiveness when the incoming threat can operate at distances beyond their immediate coverage. Commanders who once relied on creating overlapping zones of control now confront the reality that a single platform can penetrate, observe, and engage with little warning. That drives investment into new countermeasures. But developing effective responses requires time and resources, during which the U.S. retains a decisive edge. What does that mean for strategic planning? Every decision, every alert, every resource allocation must account for the possibility of sudden, global strike, without the luxury of physical presence in the theater. It compresses adversaries' timelines and reduces reaction windows, which is precisely the strategic advantage planners envisioned. Future developments promise to deepen this advantage, as sensor fusion, standoff weapon integration, and next-generation communications mature. The Raider's role expands beyond strike. Persistent intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, ISR, can be layered onto strike missions, enabling adaptive targeting and dynamic response in contested environments. Emerging electronic warfare capabilities integrated into the platform could disrupt adversary networks while remaining shielded by stealth. That leads to scenarios where a single sortie contributes not only to a kinetic mission, but also to information dominance, influencing both perception and reality in contested regions. And that's before you consider how allied coordination could exploit the platform's flexibility, allowing multinational tasking with minimal compromise to operational security. The horizon is not only the physical reach, but also the operational creativity this jet enables across every dimension of modern warfare. Now consider what that means for leadership and command. Strategists and commanders gain confidence in decision-making because the system reduces uncertainty inherent in global operations. Planning cycles can focus on exploiting opportunities rather than compensating for limitations. The payoff is accelerated response times, higher mission success probability, and a recalibrated risk-reward equation that favors decisive action. Allies can rely on capability rather than assumptions, and adversaries must contend with possibilities previously deemed remote. The result is a shift in the operational environment where credible, persistent, and flexible strike becomes a foundation of deterrence, reshaping not only how battles might unfold, but also how conflict is avoided altogether. Each deployment reinforces strategic coherence and demonstrates mastery over both geography and enemy intent. Flight test milestones reinforce this trajectory. The Raider's first flight, occurring on November 10, 2023, demonstrated more than just airworthiness. It confirmed decades of lessons in stealth design, aerodynamics, and systems integration. By the mid to late 2020s, initial operational capability is expected, likely between 2027 and 2029, allowing first operational deliveries to Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota. 2 more test aircraft were slated to fly in early 2026, accelerating the integration of the Raider into operational squadrons and providing planners with tangible assets rather than theoretical numbers. By mid-2030s, projections envision a 100-aircraft fleet if production remains on track, offering coverage across multiple theaters without the bottlenecks older bombers faced. Every aircraft is a node in a networked strike system, capable of executing complex missions with minimal support. Unit allocations, while still confidential, emphasize flexibility and dispersal to ensure survivability and rapid response. That leads to enhanced strategic deterrence. Adversaries cannot count on numbers alone because every Raider complicates their calculations and undermines confidence in defensive assumptions. Operational deployment is extensive yet focused. Records show multiple bases across the continental United States, Guam, and Australia are designated to support this platform, ensuring coverage across both the Pacific and global theaters. Unit allocations emphasize both readiness and strategic dispersal, minimizing risk to the fleet while maximizing effect. With squadrons trained to manage extended missions, the Raider ensures that long-range strike can be executed continuously, allowing the U.S. to maintain a persistent presence over contested areas without overcommitting resources. That distribution also supports nuclear and conventional deterrence simultaneously, reinforcing the dual-capable nature of the platform. By concentrating production, training, and operational planning in secure facilities, the military achieves a force posture that is both flexible and survivable, a rare combination in strategic aviation. The payoff is not only tactical, but fundamentally strategic. The United States now possesses a deterrence instrument that can hold nearly any target at risk without relying on vulnerable forward locations. By fusing stealth, range, and precision payloads, this system complicates adversaries' calculations far beyond what fighters or older bombers could achieve. The operational independence allows missions to be mounted with minimal coordination of vulnerable supply chains, and each sortie effectively multiplies the reach of the force. That drives strategic clarity. Opponents must assume that any critical node or high-value target could be threatened from thousands of miles away with little warning. That knowledge alone shapes geopolitical behavior, limiting aggressive posturing and reinforcing deterrence credibility in ways traditional platforms could not. The Raider is not just a bomber, it is a strategic instrument reshaping the balance of power and compelling adversaries to operate under a new, more constrained paradigm. Consider the operational impact on allied forces. Confidence in the platform reassures partners that deterrent capability is credible. Planning for joint operations can incorporate long-range strike options previously unavailable, affecting coalition strategies, exercises, and contingency planning. Put it another way, the bomber does not just operate in isolation. It enhances the effectiveness of Allied air power by offering a persistent, survivable tool that integrates seamlessly into combined operations. That capability strengthens the posture of the United States and its partners, creating strategic leverage that extends well beyond a single airframe or base. Looking ahead, the platform is poised to dominate operational thinking for decades. Its combination of stealth, production standard test conversion, and early squadron integration ensures that deployments remain flexible and responsive. That affects not only immediate combat potential, but also long-term procurement strategies, as lessons learned from early operations inform follow-on aircraft and systems. Investments in infrastructure, crew training, and integration procedures create a feedback loop that improves readiness across the force. By the time full squadron operations are in place, the force will have adapted to the platform's requirements, creating a smooth, sustainable operational cycle. In the end, the B-21 is not merely an aircraft. It is a statement of operational mastery, a tool of strategic control, and a lever of global influence that redefines what a single platform can do. With each sortie, the United States projects power across oceans, penetrates defenses once considered insurmountable, and commands attention from allies and adversaries alike. That is the punchline. Reach, stealth, and precision, fused into a single airframe, now dominate global strike in ways that alter strategy, reshape planning, and set a standard others cannot match. The United States just built a bomber that refuses to be predictable. What you've seen is only the beginning. America's power is just getting started. On your screen is the next video. Click the video, it opens right away, and you'll watch US jets and technology strike even harder.